What's up YouTube, Saf here on SuperSaf TV, and here we've got the Oppo R15 Pro. This is a device that a few of you guys are interested in, and particularly interested in seeing how it compares to this, the OnePlus 6. Some of you guys might remember that last year when we had the Oppo R11, it was practically identical physically to the OnePlus 5. Is this the case this year? Well, we're going to be taking a detailed look and doing a bit of a comparison between these two as well. So the box itself, we've got the Oppo branding with the R11 Pro. Nothing much else around. We'll take the unboxing knife so we can get rid of this plastic because it is completely fresh. Ooh. And the box is quite interesting. It kind of slides out from the side rather than lifts up at the top or anything like that. And here is the device, which is actually in the red. I believe this is the ruby red. We'll put that to the side for just a second while we see what else is inside the box. So first up, we've got the charger. Now this does support VOOC fast charging. We've got some earphones, and we've also got a USB Type A to micro USB cable. So that's a difference straight away. The Oppo R15 Pro has micro USB and not USB Type C. As well as that, we've got a SIM card ejector tool. And then in this box, we have a clear case, which is always a nice touch, and some paperwork. Now let's get to the device so we can get rid of the plastic. Now this does look pretty dope. We've got a bit of a gradient finish here. So it starts off with a bit of a lighter red and then goes to a darker red. There's a metal frame with this glass panel at the back. And if we do bring in the OnePlus 6 to compare, you can see that although the build looks very similar in terms of the metal and glass, the arrangement this year is quite different. So although we've got the fingerprint scanner in the middle on both of these, it's slightly lower here on the OnePlus 6, and it's also a bit more squared off compared to the more rounder sort of oval shape here that we've got on the Oppo R15 Pro. The camera placement is also quite different. We've got it here vertical in the middle on the OnePlus 6, and on the R15 Pro it is horizontal and it's towards the corner. Although the camera hardware I believe is very similar. We've got a primary 16 megapixel camera and a secondary 20 megapixel camera, both with an f1.7 aperture, and this is the same on both devices. Now if we move over onto the front, things look a lot more similar because we do have a 6.2-inch display on both devices, and both of them also have a notch. Now these are AMOLED displays with a 19:9 aspect ratio, full HD plus resolution, and as far as I can tell, they look very similar. I'm not sure if there's much of a difference between these two. What I can notice is that the chin looks slightly smaller on the OnePlus 6 compared to that on the R15 Pro. Looking at the notch itself, we can see an earpiece, and then we've got front-facing camera. Now the front-facing camera is on the right-hand side on the OnePlus 6. On the R15 Pro, it's on the left-hand side. It is a 20 megapixel camera versus 16 megapixels on the OnePlus 6. Both of these have an f2.0 aperture. Now it seems this is because selfies are a little bit more popular in Asia, and this is reflected in the software. We've got lots of AI features for a beauty mode here on the R15. And you'll also notice a software difference. Although we've got Android Oreo on both of these devices, we've got Oxygen OS on the OnePlus 6, but we've got Color OS on the R15 Pro, and this is quite heavily skinned compared to the more near stock Android experience on Oxygen OS. Now if we take a look around the devices, you can see that the build is generally quite similar. On the left hand side, we've got a volume rocker on the OnePlus 6, but we've got volume buttons on the R15 Pro, and then we've also got the SIM card tray here on the left hand side, but there is no SIM card tray on the left hand side. It's actually on the right hand side on the R15 Pro. Now both of these devices do support dual SIMs, but the R15 Pro does have the option to expand storage, and it does have a micro SD card slot, so you can use either one SIM card and a micro SD card, or you can use dual SIMs. This is something that's not available here on the OnePlus 6. And then we've also got the power button in a similar sort of position on the right hand side, but we do have the alert slider on the OnePlus 6, which is unique to OnePlus devices, and it's something that I definitely do like. It's something that we don't have on the R15 Pro. On the top, we do have a secondary mic on both devices. They're in slightly different positions. And at the bottom, things are very similarly placed. We've got a single bottom firing speaker. We've got a 3.5mm headphone jack, the primary mic, but then we have a USB Type-C port on the OnePlus 6, but we've got micro USB on the R15 Pro. Now things get quite different on the internals. The OnePlus 6 does have the Qualcomm Snapdragon 845 processor, but the R15 Pro has the Snapdragon 660, so we do have a more powerful processor on the OnePlus 6. And you've also got either 6 or 8 gigabytes of RAM on the OnePlus 6. On the R15 Pro, you've only got 6 gigabytes of RAM. Now, storage-wise, the R15 Pro actually gets the advantage because the OnePlus 6 comes in at either 64, 128, or 256 gigabyte options, but the R15 Pro actually has a base model of 128 gigabytes, and as mentioned earlier, this can be expanded. The R15 Pro also has a slightly larger battery, 3400 mAh versus 3300 mAh on the OnePlus 6, but both of them do feel pretty similar in the hand. They're around about the same weight. Apart from that, the fingerprint scanner seems to work just as fast as on the OnePlus 6, so you can see there it's very, very fast. You've also got facial unlock, which once again is super fast here on the R15 Pro, the same as what we've got on the OnePlus 6. And in terms of pricing, I believe the R15 Pro does come in ever so slightly cheaper compared to the OnePlus 6. So there we have it, guys. That is the Oppo R15 Pro unboxing versus the OnePlus 6. I have to say this year we do have more differences compared to last year, especially in terms of the look from the back, but generally speaking, they do seem from the same family, and that is because OnePlus is a sister company to Oppo, and this is kind of expected. So they do have lots of similarities, especially from the display side of things. But it looks like the OnePlus 6 is definitely more targeted towards the Western market, people who want a more closer to stock Android experience. Whereas the R15 Pro with Color OS and all of the sort of beauty modes and things that we have on here does seem to be targeted more towards the Eastern market. What do you guys think of the R15 Pro, and what do you think of the differences compared to the OnePlus 6 this year? Definitely drop me a comment below and let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, then do hit that thumbs up button for me. And if you haven't already, then be sure to subscribe and switch on notifications. There's lots more content coming up on here. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on SuperSaf TV, and I'll see you next time.